The Nerlin Nerds podcast is brought to you by What Lola Wants. Go to WLWPrivateChefs.com for information to reserve top quality chef and restaurant services in the Chicagoland area. Pulpery Media presents Nerlin Nerds with your hosts, Brock and Ben. This is where we discuss the pop culture topics that interest us and those minor details that irritate us. But so your description of the women's War Games match compared to the men's, so they get everybody in the ring and they start beating the shit out of each other and then they start the match.
Correct. The women's did the same thing. Like, those are the rules. Few things. Subtly, when they made the first Bloodline came out together, and then Roman's team came out individually, and Roman wasn't last. Well done. Well played.
And the Roman or the OG Bloodline, the cage releases.
Yes,
that was fucking fantastic.
The stopping and the not. Yeah.
When it got down to like who's going, is it going to be CM or is it going to be Roman?
See, okay, so again, WWE released footage from the camera in the cage, because they kept showing the camera in the cage.
Yeah.
But it was while the match was going on and what Roman and CM Punk were doing during that interval. After Roman stopped CM Punk from leaving and told Sami Zayn to go out there.
And Sami was like, what?
Right. So then Roman Reigns and CM Punk are locked in that cage. With brilliant fucking stuff. When CM Punk came out and mushed Bronson Reed in the face, off script. That completely off script. Just completely, I'm going to go out there and mush you in the face.
So now you got CM Punk clearly doesn't like Bronson.
Yeah, well, unfortunately,
and
he's hurt. Like, he fucked up his ankle. He's going to be out for a minute.
Oh, yeah.
Bronson Reed. Yeah. Jumping off the fucking, doing a tsunami.
Yeah.
This gentleman is huge. He's like a fucking spark plug.
But you got, so now you have, or CM Punk has open beef.
Wait.
And Seth Rollins has open beef with him.
You know what happened Monday?
No.
CM Punk was cutting a promo. Seth Rollins came out there, and they fought in the middle of the ring.
Well, I got to go back and watch Raw then.
Yeah, and it started Raw. Like, that was the first segment, commercial free.
Well, you got to be thinking like Seth Rollins is going like, no, that should have been my spot.
Thanks. So that's what it was. Anyway, we're getting ahead of ourselves.
Yeah,
the match was awesome, hard hitting. Jacob Fatu. I'll forever spell his name with a K.
Yeah, okay.
Just because it should be, I think, though, they spell it with a C. But
yeah.
It should be because he's a wrestler. That guy's a fucking monster.
Yeah.
Like, he's legit crazy.
Yes. He needs a better outfit.
The tights with the really bad boots and the shirt, it is pretty bad. But it fits his style. Like,
I get it, yeah.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
When he botched his moonsault and sold his leg, like everybody in the world thought he was really hurt. Nope. He just sold that fucking leg the rest of the match, and it made perfect sense. Bronson Reed might be one of my favorite wrestlers now, and he's hurt. That sucks.
Yeah, he's fucking crazy.
Yeah. Exactly. I mean, he had a fucking great feud with Seth Rollins, and then this run.
Oh, I just thought it was so. But you have, eventually it needs to get to Bronson Reed as the crazy heel and Braun Breaker as the crazy baby face.
They've also teased Jacob Fatu and Braun Breaker.
Ooh. Braun Breaker breaks the bloodline.
Royal Rumble's coming up soon.
Yeah.
And that's when we get the teases of everybody. At any rate, Roman Reigns team won. Him and CM Punk hugged it out at the end. Good on everybody.
Roman Reigns was in top form, too. He's
like
Superman punching. He was flying all over the ring. I haven't seen him move like that. I don't think since I've been
So think about it.
reintroduce.
I think that was his first match since WrestleMania.
Yeah,
And if he's going to do
like
this,
first real. Yeah,
he's going to let him have it.
yeah.
So The Rock did it.
Well, again, and not to, because I never got to see him come up. So my introduction was, him as head of the table, and he had been there for
He was terrible.
like a decade. I love seeing Roman Reigns have to work.
So, no. I mean, yes, he is in his final form.
Yeah.
But when he came up as part of the Shield,
Yeah.
that was good. But then when they broke him off and Vince McMahon, he was like in the main event of WrestleMania like 4 years in a row as the big dog Roman Reigns. Like, it just wasn't working. And then COVID came and he went away and he came back as the head of the table. And he has been fucking killing it. That's Paul Heyman's.
Yeah.
That's him.
Which Heyman was AEW? No. He was
ECW.
Yeah, thank you.
Paul Heyman's been in the business for
Very
very
I mean, he ran his own.
Correct.
Yeah.
He changed the game with ECW.
And then he made an appearance ringside, trying to get his boys together.
Yep. But they had. I'm sorry, I'm going to go off on a tangent here. Paul Heyman's ECW feuded with WWE and Vince McMahon, except Jerry the King Lawler was the thing. Cinema. Cinema. But he was Paulie Dangerously as a on-screen manager, and he carried around. Remember the old school like rectangular cell phones?
Yeah.
With the
carried around. Was that when he had a big ponytail too?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
I've seen those clips.
That is Paulie Dangerously. Him and Jim Cornette going back and forth. Oh my God, I can watch that forever. All right. Let's talk about Foundation, and then we'll do Dune.
Good call.
All right. So you read the book.
Yeah.
And.
What I was
completely different, right?
Yeah. Well, so my plan is to get through the series. But I did find it interesting in that in the first book of the Foundation series that they mention the Empire and Cleon, but it's all about the Foundation.
Correct. Yep.
And that Harry Seldon is like a blip in that book.
That's what I was just about to say. He ain't. But I understand why they did it in the show.
I totally get every decision that the TV show has made, and that
exactly.
And particularly that that you have like Harry Seldon and Gail Dornick are like 5 minutes in the book.
Yes.
And it's mainly Salvor Hardin.
Yeah.
And then the guy that we find out at the very end of season 2, Harbor Mallow.
Yes.
So
yeah, exactly. But he's not anywhere in it until the end of season 2.
Right.
Yeah.
So, which I'm looking at it as, and I'm assuming like when I get into the next one.
I haven't read the next one.
It's right, and I'm going to get the title wrong, but it's like Seeds of Foundation, or it's like
yeah.
Which I think, or Empire and Foundation. So I think that's where they're going to get into the Cleons, or if they do get into the Cleons, but. The really interesting part about that, to me, from the first book, was they talked about the underlings.
Yes.
Under the Emperor.
Yes.
And like when they have the Harry Seldon trial, it's not the 3 Cleons.
No, it's
the bureaucrats underneath.
Like the Cleons don't do anything.
Right.
Really.
Yeah.
Like they're mentioned.
Yeah.
Are they? It's been a minute.
Like Cleon the First is mentioned,
right? But you
don't hear any of like Cleon the 35th or anything.
No, it's yeah, exactly.
But they do bring it up in the
it's the politics. It's their
well, and it's focused
government
on
body that's doing everything. Yeah.
In that, and it does really get into, which the show has just briefly touched on, which is the science religion.
Yes.
That the Foundation creates.
Correct.
But that that's only it's one phase of the Foundation returning, recreating the Empire.
Exactly.
Which is fucking fascinating.
Science.
Yeah, but so it goes from, like, first it's like exile, then it's religion.
Right, because they all get 8 yes.
And then it ends on the economic front, which, like...
And that's kind of... Isn't that how everything is?
But I'm just saying,
societies go, right?
Well, and I'm just saying from, like, somebody who has, a social studies background, and, a lot of times you get into sci-fi, and it's like, oh yeah, that would be great. But then you start going like, yeah, but see, here's the problem with that economic plan, or with that. But of course, and I'm not surprised that Asimov was just such a fucking, like, I mean, is the Jesus Christ of dorks.
Yes, he is.
And that
he wove in all of that.
Yeah.
Like, they went, like you said, in exile.
As it's like, it's phases. It's like, oh yeah, everybody goes through this phase, like, where you believe in something.
Yep.
And then that gives way to, like, no, I need quantifiable
wait a minute. Like, right. So wait, you believe in this, so now you can give me something for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
exactly.
But
you're right. It was like the evolution of it. From nothing to, oh, look, now it's...
And for a dude who did it as his hobby, like... And again, I'm listening to the audiobook, which,
right.
And it's not done by, like, I can't wait to go into the Lord of the Rings, which they have a version where Andy Serkis reads it.
Really?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but I'm not there yet. I got to wait for my credits to build up on Audible, but
wow.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just a standard, like your standard average bland white guy being like, and here's what's going on, and found it, But even then, you're like, well, what the fuck's happening? And in true old 60s sci-fi style, like the first chapter's like 30 minutes long, and then when you get to the very end, it's like 5 minutes, like chapter 4. 5 minutes later, chapter 5. 3 minutes later, chapter 6. Like, holy! But he's taking what he wrote for magazines, and they're condensing it into...
Which is what happened to Bear.
Right.
Bear with Dune, the second one.
Well, yeah, if he was born down here, it would be Bear.
That's why I say Bear.
Yeah.
It's Herbert.
Right.
It's fucking Bear. Piece of shit. You're a fantastic. But yeah, that his second book was the same way. Like, it was in chunks.
That's what I'm now more impressed with the show, and that what it seems like the writers of the show did was they sat down, they took every book in the Foundation series, and were like, okay, how do we piece this together
I need to put this in a timeline.
Right.
Like, exactly. All these people read the book, and then they went, okay, A, B, C, D, this is the timeline. Let's go.
And then how do we fit that into conventional television storytelling?
We will start with the fucking cable coming down.
Well, and then, how do we maintain a character so that people get invested in that character? Because, like, again, if they were following the book,
they would not have...
Jared Harris would be gone by episode 2.
Right.
And never to return. Other than in a holographic image.
Which is what they did with...
Right, but they also advanced the technology, which I thought was, like, really, really clever of them, of that. And it's that thing of, like, you read that book, and it's like, oh, this is what people in the 1960s... And granted, Asimov had... Yeah.
Yes.
Like,
so
but
he was working with holograms, where now we're working with, like, AI.
Right. Or or like transporter technology, like where we've recreated matter to do this. Or, or holodecks is what I'm trying to think of. But yeah. And you go... But it's like, and good on the writers for foundation of that, like, knowing, like, we can't present it in what would now be an antiquated sci-fi world. Like, we have to
modernize it, but we have to take it.
The following segment has been brought to you by Whatever Lola Wants. Go to WLWPrivateChefs.com for information to reserve top quality chef and restaurant services in the Chicagoland area. The Nerlin Nerds podcast is a production of Pulpery Media. Produced and edited by Ben Grimion. Marketing by Brock Ryder. Graphic design by Beck Ryder and Ben Grimion. Music by the Heisenberg Compensators.